Hello folks, welcome back to the channel, and here we have another one of these fun little head-to-head things today. As always, not to be taken too seriously, these are just my own personal thoughts, and we are putting up against each other. Over here we have the Seiko Samurai Save the Ocean Blue Whale in the ion coated black case. And over here we have the Orient Kano, both 200-meter divers. One is ISO certified, which is the Seiko. The Orient is not ISO certified. So there are going to be some kind of a little bit of leeway given, because this does not have a loom pip. So when we do the loom thing, it's just going to be about the loom that is there, okay? So don't be shouting at me because that's not got a loom pip, so it's not a proper diver's watch, I know. So yes, let's begin just for fun. But as always, keep your own scores and see if you agree with me. And if you do not, then let me know in the comments. How we're going to score this is the same as I've done the last couple, which is the same as a football match. They get 3 points. There's 3 points available, I should say, for each category. 3 for a win, 1 for a draw, and obviously if whichever one loses at a particular round gets a 0. So we will begin with the movement. So we have in the Seiko Samurai, we have the good old 4R35, 24 joule, 21,600 vibrations per hour, 41-hour power reserve with hacking and hand winding. And in the Orient, we have the F6922, which is a 22 joule movement, 21,600 vibrations per hour, hacking and hand winding with a day and date complication. So for the movement itself, they get a point each. So the first round is a draw. Now we are going to come up to, I did a Timegrapher run. So this is trial by Timegrapher. And for the Samurai, we have a beat error, as you can see by the photo I've just put up, 1.6 milliseconds and a overall loss rate of 1 second per day, which I don't think is too bad at all for a Seiko movement. And the Orient movement, we have a beat error, which is a bit better at 0.2 milliseconds and losing 6 seconds per day. So they're both pretty close. So I'm going to score those two equal as well. They are very close. They're both pretty reliable. They both do what they're supposed to do, which is to tell the time. Now then, dial and crystal. We have a mineral crystal on the Save the Ocean, the Seiko. Obviously, they're proprietary Hardlex. And on the Orient, we also have a mineral crystal on this. This is not the Kamasu, which has the sapphire crystal. So now the dial, I mean, obviously the Save the Ocean with that kind of that graduated, you know, black up to blue and with the waves on it, whereas the Orient has got, it's a very, very nice, very striking sunburst dial. But I've given the Seiko the 3-point win for that, only for the fact that with the Orient it's fine, it looks great, but it is kind of a little bit generic, where the Seiko, I think, just got that little bit of extra something with that Save the Ocean themed dial going on. Next up we have legibility. Now, as you can see, there is no problem with legibility with either of them. They are both absolutely fine. So they both score 1 point for that. Now then, fit and finish, we'll get a little bit kind of deeper into what they are like. Now, the overall finish on the Seiko is very good. I mean, this one is ion plated. I do have another one which is stainless steel, which is, you know, it is all brushed. There isn't a polished surface on it anywhere. And obviously the same with this. I'd say that there's a little polished surface in there, which is done okay. We do have some drilled lugs on this, which is a nice thing to have. The strap, this is the strap that it came on. It's the Seiko silicone. It's not that horrible hard rubber. You've got the Seiko Kanagawa wave thing pressed into the end there. We have a metal keeper there, which is signed, and we have a signed pin buckle clasp, which is kind of quite nice. On the Orient, we have a very similar style strap. This is also silicone, very soft. It does have the branding on the end of the strap there, but it also has this pretty cool lip, so that when you put it through your keeper, which on this one is unfortunately only rubber, it does stop it from sliding about. There is no branding on the outside of the clasp, the pin buckle clasp I should say. They've decided to put it on the inside. Strange, I would have put it up there, but there you go. But anyway, I think fit and finish wise, this one has a bit more going on because you've got some polished surfaces, and we've got brushed surfaces as well. But you know, the finishing, the edges, everything is done really well. There's nothing sharp and horrible. So I've given them both 1 point for that. Right, okay, we are going to run the Lume footage now, and they both start off very, very brightly. I have to confess, I do not really know what they use on the Orient, but obviously the Seiko has their Lume Bright, and I think you agree the Samurai is going to take the win for that. Not that the Orient is poor in any way, because even though it wasn't as bright as the Seiko after the 20-minute period. In real world, if you wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you can still tell the time. So I'm still going to give the win to the Seiko, because it was obviously lasting a bit longer and was a bit brighter. Now then, the functionality and the use of the crown, they are both screw down crowns. They both have crown guards, which are very, very similar. It's a good sized crown on the Orient, which is signed. It's dead easy to get to. There's no issues with using that whatsoever. And then push it back in, and to screw it back up again, the engagement is absolutely fine, as is the Seiko. That pops out. It doesn't actually pop out quite as well as the Orient, but it still does pop, and also screwing it back in is not an issue at all, and it tucks in underneath the edge of that bezel, as you can see, whereas this one is not so much. It's kind of flush with it, but you know, they both score well, they both work well, no problems with either of those. So again, 1 point each. Now then, the bezel. So the bezels, they're both 120 click. Seiko, right, consistency is always the thing with Seiko. You never really know what you're going to get, and this one, I have to say, is, I'll let you listen. It does sound a bit strange, a little bit on the tinny side. It does line up. Talk about camera angles, etc. But yeah, it does line up. Trust me on that. But it's a bit on the loose side. It's I can turn it with one finger. So it's, as far as a Seiko bezel, it's not what we're used to. And it is a little bit on the light side. It could get knocked. Whereas the one on the Orient, and I'll be quiet so you can hear that. It's got more of that kind of a little bit of resistance to it, and as you move your thumb around it, there's no way that I'm going to move that with one hand, so I'm not going to knock it. So yeah, the bezel on the Orient is actually better than it is on the ISO rated Seiko Samurai. So the Orient is going to take the win for that. So 3 points to the Orient and none for the Seiko. Now then, brand. Seiko, Orient, cousins, stablemates, call them what you like, under the Epson umbrella. They've both got fantastic history and some really interesting pieces. They've got their entry-level pieces, they've got the higher-end pieces, obviously with the Orient and the Orient Star. You've got the Seiko, and then you're up through, obviously, into Seiko Prospect series and the Presage. So, yeah, I think they're both fantastic brands. Got a lot of time for both of them. So a point each for that. That round is a draw. Now then, value. This was a little bit more difficult to kind of quantify, because the prices are quite different. On average, this is average new price, roughly 185 GBP for the Orient and roughly 300 for the Seiko. Now, you are getting an ISO rated dive watch with the Seiko. You can take that proper diving. I dare say you probably could with the Orient. You know, it's going to be fine, but it's a skin diver, not a diver. So there's your kind of the difference in price. Do I see the value in them? Absolutely, yes, I do. It's going to depend on where your budget is at, but I think that they're both great watches for the money that you're going to spend. Now, you can find them both cheaper. You'll probably find them even more expensive, in which case, go somewhere else. But for me personally, I mean, I love wearing both of them. They're both absolute strap monsters as well. Actually, that strap there is the one that this one lives on most of the time. So yeah, that's I mean, it just suits the watch perfectly. So yes, there we have it. So if you've been keeping a running total, you will know that the Seiko has won by 12 points to 9 for the Orient, and that takes nothing away from the Orient. I think it is a great watch, and if you've got a couple of £100 to spend on a dive watch that you particularly want a dive watch, that is a great buy. If you want to spend a little bit more and get an ISO certified diver, then the Seiko is also a great buy. But with all Seikos, make sure, don't buy one particularly on the internet. Yeah, that bezel, it's a little bit on the loose side. I mean, it's with Seikos, I found it's always best to actually go in store, because they do vary. They're not consistent. But there we have it. So 12 points to the Seiko and 9 points to the Orient. Let me know what your scorecard was like. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? There's probably going to be some, you should have had this category and that category. Well, okay, fine. You make suggestions, and maybe I'll add some suggested categories from you guys. Yeah, it kind of depends on what they are and whether it's something that kind of fits with what we're doing. But there we go. This is just a bit of a fun video, not your usual kind of this spec, that spec review thing. Just my take on a couple of great dive watches from Orient and from Seiko. But yes, let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button twice. That would be brilliant. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload anything else. But that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Cheers for now.